Welcome back to the A-10C2 tank killer. I am attempting to take out some shorter range SAMs with the laser guided rockets here in DCS. And this is a little bit of a longer video, but I've tried to cut out a lot of the dead space. So you'll see some abrupt cuts here in the video. But also, as always, I don't know if this is the correct way to do anything. You know, I make this stuff work, but I don't know proper procedures and stuff like that. So some of the things I do here in this video are simply experimentation, and most of them didn't work, but that's the nature of the beast. So, but what I'm doing is I'm trying to practice finding targets without labels on and without waypoints over them or without smoke and things like that, to locate the targets. And then practice the implementation of the TGP and the HMCS and the HUD and all that good stuff, all the systems together. So in this particular case, I'm looking for an SA-13 Estrella launcher, and I know generally where it is, but I don't know exactly where it is. So I used the HMCS to get a SPI out there, and then I slewed the targeting pod around until I found it and got the target locked up. And then I'm going to roll in on it and shoot a laser guided rocket at it. So I cut out the part where I was turning around. There was an SA-15 site, and I didn't know what else was inland, so I just turned out towards sea, rolled around, and kind of rolled on the target, turned the laser on, the latch is on, so I don't have to hold it. And then whenever I was within my desired range, I fired and then just kind of gently roll off to the left, just like Wags told me to do. I'm going to expand the field of view just so that I can slew a little bit easier whenever it's done. I don't think I'm going to need to, and I don't think I did, but I usually pop the field of view in close whenever I'm needing to get on the target, and then pop it back out whenever I'm good to go. So that's that target down. He wasn't a huge threat. I've flown over him before without getting shot at, so not a big deal. But now I've got an SA-19 and an SA-15 popping up intermittently on my RWR. I spent a lot longer looking for these targets than what I show here because it's boring. But essentially I used my RWR and I just kind of flew in different, flew on different courses and tried to get a good idea of where they were. Sort of some, what I would call extreme hillbilly triangulation, because it's not really triangulation, I'm just using a gut feeling. So there's really nothing that scientific about it. I was also gonna see if I could get them to fire a missile at me at kind of their maximum range, but so far they haven't. I've done that before. I don't like doing it, but it's something you can do. But again, it took me quite a few more minutes than what is shown here, but I essentially did the same thing. I put a sensor point of interest out in the general vicinity that I thought it was in, and then I slewed around with the targeting pod until I found something that looked promising, zoomed in on it, and it was the Tunguska, or the SA-19. At least that's what the code is on the RWR. I don't really research this stuff as much as I should. I know that it's a Tunguska. I know that it shows a 19 on the radar, or sorry, the RWR. But and this is where I get nervous because these guys have more range than what I really like trying to get within. They have a greater range than. This would, what I'm trying to say is, this would normally be a Maverick shot for me. The thing with Mavericks for me is I usually don't get a good lock, for lack of a better term. That might be the correct term, but I call it a lock. I don't usually get a good lock outside of 6 miles. I've gotten some at 7, but I don't know if there's just not enough contrast for the seeker to lock on or what, but so the rockets don't have much less range, but that 1 to 2 miles can make a big difference. The bigger difference for me is that the Mavericks, when you're using the D and the H and some of the other ones, I'm sure as well, those are the only two I've ever used so far, but when you're using those, it's a fire and forget. So I don't have to maintain a laser pointed at the target that's about to start shooting at me. I'm actually really surprised it hasn't shot already. So I'm going off to the left a little bit. It does shoot some really crazy missiles. Are those optically tracked? Somebody throw that up in the comments if you want. But both of those rockets hit, I think. I fired two, and I might explain that in more detail later, but basically just trying to see what would happen if I fired two, see if they both tracked. And I do believe both of them hit. We'll see when we go into the TAC view. So then I get a launch from the SA-15, and first I need to evade the missile, but I also want to try to get a good bead on where it came from, and sure enough I see a smoke trail there. So good news. I now know about where to place my SPI to try to find that guy. So that particular attack run was extremely successful. I took out one threat and coarsely located the second threat, and that's what I needed to do, because the SA-15 was not going to be as easy to find, as you'll see here in a moment. So I'm not sure why that is doing that. You know, it was snapping back to center. I'm not exactly sure why that was happening, but essentially I can drag the SPI up there, and I got my targeting pod in the vicinity. And once again, I spent a lot more minutes slewing this around this area than what you're seeing here. I cut a lot of it out. But I know he's in this area, and then somebody's peeking out from behind a tree, and that kind of explains why. And then I messed up my TGP there, so I have to go find him again. But that explains why he was popping in and out of on the RWR. I thought initially it was because he was behind the hill, but then I realized he's popping in and out at times when he should be able to see me. So I didn't know if maybe the AI was turning off the radar and turning it on again, or something like that, but it appears that tree was masking. Now this one is a little bit tricky because it has even more range, and it has already launched. I'm nowhere near my launch range, and I know that I can't keep the laser on it. I'm not maneuvering as much as I'd like to be right now, considering there's a missile coming at me, and it's you know, but it worked out. It worked out. So these guys get me fairly frequently whenever I'm doing stuff like this. So that attack run was kaput. So we rolled in, and this one was another failed experiment, and it's probably something that's possible, but I'm doing something wrong here. So I was going to try to mask behind that hill or that small mountain, pop up over it, fire the laser, and just fly over the top of him with my laser hitting him, and hopefully the rocket would hit. And then I would duck down behind the trees and egress as fast as possible and hope that he was dead. But my SPI is now the side of that mountain, not where he is, as far as I can tell. And I pop up a little bit here to see if it moves. It doesn't. He starts pinging me again, so I had to duck back down and try something different. So he's looking at me again. I know I'm in a dangerous position, but luckily I can mask behind the hill again and get out of there and try something else. So I think there's a way to do that. And here's another chance, if somebody knows, please throw that up in the comments, just kind of a quick summary of how that's done, or just tell me that it's possible and I'll go search the forums. I think that I've seen somewhere before where you can set up a point that's a little bit more resilient when you go masking, terrain masking. It could be like a steer point or a mark point or something. You know, that would be my guess, but I don't know for sure. So here, I'm firing at really long ranges, and I'm trying to fire multiple rockets. The rockets you fire later will usually get close to catching up to the first rocket, so you know, I think that you could time something out where you get near simultaneous impacts. Not quite simultaneous, but near. The problem is, I think here, and we'll see this, we should be able to see this in TAC view, but I think that I wasn't pointed close enough at the target to for them to track. I also think that these are defensive SAM launches. They're shooting at the rockets, I believe. Either that or he's trying to shoot at me, but they're picking up the rockets or something like that. I don't really know. But it's clear at this point that those aren't working. He fires another one, and at this point I've decided that might not be fired at me. But then again, maybe it is. So I'm dancing a little bit close to the fire here, much closer than I would prefer. So we're going to go ahead and try to get out of dodge, as the saying goes. I didn't think about it at the time, but I believe I got a little bit close to the other ground units that I was attacking in the last video. That was before I put these SAMs in. Essentially, this is the same mission from my last video, but I added the SAMs just to try to make it more interesting to practice this stuff. So here, what was going through my mind was, I'm tired of this, I'm going to pop up over the hill and I'm going to try to gun him. But then I thought better of it. It's probably not a great idea. So we roll out and go set up another attack. Of course, we roll out pretty close to him, so this could have been dangerous, but it wasn't. He never fired at me here. Possibly because he's out of missiles. Okay, so this attack run, once again I'm experimenting. There's a tree between he and I, so this is the tree he was hiding behind, and I was thinking it may be possible for me to launch some rockets and smack them through the tree and get him, depending on how DCS treats this. So again, I was gonna kind of ripple fire some rockets just for fun. I'm wondering if a force correlated Maverick could do this through the tree, maybe. I'd like to try that sometime just to see. I'm also in a different TGP mode. It may have contributed to the lack of success here. I don't really know. He's coming out from behind the tree, which I'm thinking is bad, but he's not even set up, so I'm guessing he's out of missiles, which might make the rest of my experiment a little bit moot. But I started panic firing here a little bit because I'm thinking I'm about to overfly this guy, and none of my rockets have hit him yet. So I don't even know where he is at this point. So fire again, and then it just smacks the ground. And oh yeah, there he is. He's over there. Okay, so I don't want to count on him not having missiles, so I try to just put some stuff between us. And then set up for one final attack run. On this attack run, I'm kind of banking on the fact that he doesn't have anything to shoot at me with. So I did mask him with the tree a little bit, but I kind of waited until he popped out from behind it, and then I tried to get pointed closer to on target. That first missile was a little bit wild. This one was a little bit better. Missile rocket. They're labeled as missiles in the sim, so there you have it. I was getting a little bit nervous here. But this is a more conventional attack run, and I got him. Decided to just gun him up a little bit. The lessons here for me are, on some of these, it's very, very possible to take them out with these laser guided rockets. This Tor, the SA-15, was a little bit more difficult because of its range, but you know, it's doable, especially if you run them out of ammunition, and then you can come in and take them out with whatever weapons you want, honestly. But we'll look at this in TAC view, and hopefully you guys learned something from it. I think I've learned something from it and gotten a little bit faster with the switching back and forth between sensors, so that's good. And I'm just going to keep practicing this kind of stuff. We'll be able to play most of this pretty fast, but and I'm hoping that this isn't corrupted, because the track in game is absolutely corrupt. We'll see after I fire the first. After we fire the first rocket, it's tracking. Okay, so the SA-13 is out. Now we've got to try to see if we can get the one of these two guys. And obviously from the video, from seeing the video, you know that this guy was harder to get to. So we're trying to find them. Looks like I got pinged there, so I turned away. I don't remember the exact order of things, but I believe I've found the SA-19 at this point. And I know that the SA-15 is back there, but I don't think I've seen him because I haven't evaded the missile. So here we go. We're coming in to attack the Tunguska. So we are 6 miles apart. There goes the rocket. And I fired two. I don't know if that may actually hurt, but I assume they just track the same laser. So what I was hoping, and I wonder if I can switch to this guy. Yeah. What I'm hoping is that this missile actually catches up. That happens a lot. And you can see it's kind of catching up. So I was hoping that they would hit at roughly the same time. Okay, let me pause. I thought this Tunguska might have been shooting at these rockets, but there's a lot going on here. Let's slow it down. So yeah, this second missile is catching up slightly. The Tunguska's tracking. I'm sort of beaming, but not quite, and hoping that these hit. And sure enough, we got 2 hits. Oh, I think this blew up behind me, or I thought it did. Okay, that was closer than I thought it was, which doesn't surprise me too much, but that is much closer than I thought it was. But now we've got the SA-19 out of the way, and here's where I got the launch notification from the SA-15, and I didn't know where he was yet. So first I need to defeat this missile, which was my first thought, and I wasn't exactly in the best position to do it, but I thought I could dive and turn away from it pretty easily and look back and hopefully see a smoke trail. So at that point, I know roughly where he is, not quite, but roughly, and I can kind of get out of dodge. I was also getting kind of close to these ground units. Not nearly enough to take shots, I don't think, but I wasn't really keeping track of where they were. I know that they're there because, you know, that's the groups that I fought in the last video. So now, if I remember right, I've got this guy. Yep, I've got him found. He launches at me. Ooh, that guy bit the flares or the chaff. I don't remember exactly what these guys go for. Countermeasures. I'll say that. It bit the countermeasures because it was tracking me really well as I dove. It was These countermeasures up here may have been wasted. I wasn't quite, yeah, I wasn't beaming this missile by any stretch of the imagination. So it's not biting on those, and it is tracking really well. And then I started popping countermeasures again, and right there it bit. So I think I would have been dead if it wouldn't have decided that it would rather go after those. So anyway, this is where I went low, and I was going to try to mask behind the mountain, but I'm not very good um, at the targeting pod. I think there is a way where you can do that, and it'll keep the speed behind the mountain. It won't reset the speed, but I don't. I'm not good enough with it to know how to do that, so that wasn't working. And then I thought maybe I would get way up in altitude and see if I could get above this guy's ceiling and launch down on it. Or maybe, I don't know if I had actually come to that realization yet, but it definitely looks like I've climbed here. Yeah, okay, yeah. This is where I fired. Okay, sorry, I was going too fast. I need to back that up. I fired these rockets, and I don't know that they ever were tracking, so something was probably wrong, because I don't believe, whoops, where did that go? Okay, that's that guy. I don't believe they ever tracked. Of course, I am also firing them. I'm not exactly lined up, so maybe they couldn't even see. Yeah, they may not have been able to even see the laser. I didn't think of that before. Well, is he turning? No, I don't believe so. So this was, whatever I did wrong here, it was kind of stupid, because the because I was flying, staying on, keeping this guy in my TGP, when these guys weren't even tracking anyway. And I was thinking, I saw these launch and they were going low, and I was wondering if they were being fired against the rockets. Which, that's another kind of a cool thing. Look at that. 3 rockets going nowhere. So yeah, that was, oh, it missed the rocket. Okay, that's kind of cool though. At least I got him to waste some missiles by salvo firing the rockets. But anyway, I wasted those, wasted some time, put myself in a dangerous situation there, and the only good I got out of it was that he wasted some missiles. That one, did that blow up immediately? It looks like it. So I got the notification and started trying to defeat that missile, but I guess maybe I didn't need to. Oh, and then he fired another one. Oh, I did get close to getting shot at here. Oh, I got shot at. I didn't even know I got shot at. See, that's poor situational awareness. Once again, I was going to try to fly up over the hill, but decided not to. So then I thought, this is where I thought, okay, maybe we can use that tree. So let's go over here, and all of those, this one was a desperation shot. These, I'm not exactly sure. They were, oh yeah, I do know why. Because those were beyond max range. I was hoping that a little bit of altitude and airspeed, although I don't have that much, I was hoping that would help. Maybe if I was higher, but yep, there goes 1, there goes 2, there goes 3, and I'm actually kind of, I think I'm closer to within range than I was thinking I was on that last shot. Maybe even in range, but just walking them up there to it and didn't quite get there. So, and then this one had no chance to track. But I noticed he wasn't shooting at me, so I don't know if I ran him out of missiles or what. So that was that last desperation shot. So yeah, we fly out low, try to keep the tree between me and him just in case, and then come back in and get right so that, okay, yeah, that one I fired way off to the side. So clearly you have to be pointed at them. There's not, the sensor doesn't have a good enough or a wide enough range to be picking up from wide off angle shots. So I need to cut that out. That's the biggest lesson I think I've learned here is I need to be pointed at the target and, you know, pretty close to within max range. So so that's cool. Luckily, I guess I ran him out of missiles. I don't know how many they carry, but it seems like that's what may have happened there. No, that was fun. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching.